Oh, hey, it's an amalgam of Rich McLean's family. And my name's Brad McLean, Ciara McLean, Jodie and Dave Bongetti, Doug and April McLean, Bruce and Maree McMaster, and probably Scott and Carolyn Pabst as well. Yeah, we're just here to talk about Rich McLean. Yeah, he's the crazy one. Well, we've all witnessed him struggle over the years, but, it's not within our remit to look after him. He is mentally ill, and we all know that. Everyone knows that. And we're well aware, of Steve Icenides. He was his former partner, and he was a really awesome guy. We loved Steve. And then they broke up, but, what do rights matter when it's one of your loved ones affected? Because, if we just delay, deny, defer, just not intervene, and absolutely, well, we're not just ignoring him, we're pointedly neglecting him, and literally we have for years. And, we're aware that great harm's happening to him, and he's got a little bit of staying power, I'll give him that. He's got some resilience. He's been begging us for help for years. And, we've just been watching from afar and saying, haven't got the money, even though all of us have got at least 2 houses each. And me, Bruce, the bit of the amalgam that's Bruce has got a whole property portfolio. We obviously have got no money, and we obviously, have got no time. And obviously, Rich is just, an absolute crazy nutbag. And it's really got nothing to do with Steve Icenides and really the way he's infiltrated the entirety of the Australian government and all of his family and friends and got the government on side. Because, as we know, when they were together, we used to hang out with them all the time. Yeah, it was all right. Then they broke up, but, I've got no real worry for human rights or dividing of property. And when it comes to Rich, well, we're aware that the conspiracy that's perverting the course of justice, which really we all know and aware of, and that is persecuting him really fiercely, we're aware that has to infiltrate Rich's inner sanctum, his personal relationships. And, he's done it pretty good, and we salute Steve for looking after Rich and, for helping him, because we really appreciated that, because obviously we believe that Steve paid his way, and obviously now that it's clear that they're not together, he's just a loser, Rich. And look, we're well aware that he got fired from The Age when his book came out, Recovered Not Cured, which was, pretty brave of him, pretty stupid, because we all know he's really crazy now. And, even though he was vilified by the Herald Sun and fired from The Age, we just let it happen. Just fire him. Just do whatever damage you want to him, because as a family, we're just not going to intervene. Because, we've got our own issues. We've got families of our own, and we've got things to do, places to go, things to see, and money to spend. We've got privileges to enjoy, like legal rights, like health, like a home, like 2 homes, 3 homes, 10 homes, like different cars, a car collection, like jobs and each other. And we all hang with each other, and we all talk about Rich. And isn't it a shame what's happening to him? But, that's just life. That's a tough world. And, we're really not concerned that he's never, ever in his 50 years had a lawyer in his entire life. And we're aware that he's psychometrically profiled and blocked out of any legal help whatsoever. We're aware that legal aid won't help him. We're aware that, there's other systemic and political issues that are affecting Rich, and they've really impacted on his health. Even to the point of, do you remember that little time? It was just a little thing. Rich actually killed himself. Apparently it was deemed fatal. He's been rabbiting on about it for ages. He was revived. But then as a family, we all drew together and we thought, let's just not validate his experience. Let's silence him and use our own prejudice, stigma, and shame of him, because he is embarrassing, to just silence the whole tragedy. And even though it's been proven that he's got a cognitive brain impairment and memory issues from the suicide attempt, in which apparently he bled out in the loony bin shower floor, and then he literally died, like it was deemed fatal, and has a brain injury. We're not too concerned about that. That's just horses for courses, really. And look, we're well aware of the other detriments he suffered, like his HF income assist not paying, like they just refused to pay it. And we're well aware now that that's all a complete setup, and it was doomed to fail and preemptively decided that he wouldn't get anything, because he's been systemically oppressed for many years. So his HF income assist, he had his business destroyed, richmclean.com.au by Micron21. But, we just all sat by and watched that happen. And we watched the damage occur to him, and we watched him struggle, and we watched him really suffer. It destroyed his business, his digital identity, it destroyed the way he made money, and destroyed his income. But none of us are concerned, because it's got nothing to do with us. And then there was other things like, an insurance policy he had with extra units of cover. We didn't worry about that not being paid. And that's about $500,000, but that's his loss. It's not our loss. And we're well aware that scapegoating can exist, that you can kill people, that the government can systemically and politically kill someone. And we're just really grateful to be followers, and we're happy to be told what to do, because in actual fact, we just don't want it happening to our patch of the land. No flies on us. That's our policy. There's no flies on us. Rich is suffering, and he's literally killed himself. We attempted to cover it up, and we did, and we watched him struggle as he tried to stick up for himself just on the very thing of existing and living. But of course, we knew that would fail. At the Health Complaints Commissioner, the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, the police, IBAC, the Ombudsman, and really all government agencies, such as, the Prime Minister, like AAT, like Comcare, like AFCA. Oh, he's banned from AFCA. How funny, he'll never get justice there. And his AAT work cover, that was a shoo-in. The lawyer the government had a lawyer, I know, to defend them, and it was an absolute bloodbath. But none of us are concerned. It's only $720,000, which really was his loss. It's got nothing to do with us. And then, there was other things like the Australian Human Rights Commission totally rejecting a settlement with TAL, his insurance company, and he lost $1.5 million. I know, epic shit show that was. Liz Lindbergh really cleverly put a impartial decision totally in the hands of the opposition and denied Rich all justice. It cost him $1.5 million, but we're not concerned about that. And we're not concerned about the Australian Human Rights Commission also not investigating the documented human rights abuses, victimisation, oppression and persecution of Rich from Tash and his NDIS worker. And of course, Free Living Australia never signed up on that, and neither did his company now, Personalised Support Services. We're not too concerned about any of it, and we'd just like to comment that, silence is complicity. We all know that. But if he dies and he's finally killed through the systemic and severe persecution that he's suffered all these years, well, there's no flies on us, because he's got a mental illness. And of course, he's crazy, and he should just, probably just ghost in all that. He's starting to annoy us. But anyway, we've exonerated ourselves from all liability, and we're just not going to help him. And this is the April part of the amalgam speaking now. We tried to help him a little bit. We gave him a little bit of cash, helped him with some food. He's been a real drain on us. And, we only stuck by out of our obligation through our genetics, our blood. We can't absolutely and utterly destroy him or forsake him, so we just pretend to hang in there. And when he's killed, such as Steve's threatened to kill him and his dog, then then we're just going to exonerate ourselves from all responsibility. We helped him, and that's enough for us. And if you'd like to maybe talk to us about maybe a car collection or some baseball or some calisthenics or any of our children, we'd be more than happy to take some questions. But as far as it goes to Rich, I don't think there's really any reason to go into this really whatsoever. We're also aware the Australian Human Rights Commission won't investigate the documented human rights abuses that Tasha's made Rich's NDIS worker, who works for personalised support services, and they won't sign off on it either. And in this way, we've really systemically and politically silenced him in all ways. We've actually really clusterfuck framed him. And even the Prime Minister, when faced with all the oppression that he's gone, sent him to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General's office, Mark Dreyfus, who's really cleverly rejected all phone calls and emails, has then referred him to, his office referred him to Comcare and AGIS, but of course AGIS already know about Steve. And the Commonwealth Ombudsman, well, they've just rejected his PID on account that he's not a public official, when he's clearly proven that he was, because he worked at a public hospital, and he's got a federal court document saying he was an employee of the DSS, actually, yeah. So that's pretty good in Rich's favour, but, you know, who stands in the way when money and power are involved? Because Rich has nothing, he's crazy, and he's going to be literally exterminated. I mean, we're all seeing it coming. We've had plenty of warning that he's probably going to die or be killed. But, you know, it's mental illness that's killed him. It's not us, not our remit, not our responsibility. And you know what? He's rude. He's an absolute rude man. And even if he pissed us off, which he has, you know, we couldn't forgive him. We'd prefer to see him exterminated and extinguished and literally sacrificed in order to save face. And really, that's what we want. We want him to die. We want him to suffer. And it's clearly evident from the years that we've allowed him to suffer and really refused to meaningfully intervene in any of his interactions, his political life or his personal life or any financial issue. That's what we mean. We mean him harm. We want to harm Rich McLean. And you know what? He actually put in a good effort, 30 years of advocacy. I mean, with the Australian government, speaking in Parliament, all over the news and TV and radio. It's amazing. But we don't really care. You know, that was just his journey. He just likes to talk about himself, you know, that's his problem. Anyway, look, we're just going to round off now by saying that we think we love Rich. We've always loved Rich. He's a great guy. But unfortunately, it's not within our remit. We refuse to interact with him. We've seen him struggling, obviously, years after year, after thing. And we're just not interested in intervening. And collectively, I think that suits the mandate of Steve Icinides and the government, who's refused a settlement and threatened to kill him. Rich has had notification that he will be killed. And, you know, that's of no concern to us because, you know, we can call him crazy and just say he's just delusional. And, you know, if he kills himself, then well done us. But if he doesn't kill himself and he threatens it, well, we can just send in the cops and the cops will lock him up. And, you know, more detriment, more suffering, more isolation, and more non-acknowledgement of all of his issues because, you know, that's how we work as a family. We like to stick together, and there's a fair bit of nepotism, you know, and we actually like to, you know, join together in forces in a unified voice to say, he is a scapegoat, we're all aware of it. We just don't want to be the scapegoat ourselves, and we'd hate it to happen to us because we can see it happening to him. We know it's possible, and we just don't want it in our backyard. So kill him, sacrifice him, exterminate him, make him kill himself. I mean, we've known he's homeless on Friday. We haven't intervened, but that's all right. That's just per our policy. And we'd just like to finish us by the Bruce part of the thing saying it's not true that I dressed up Maree in a maid's outfit and that I used to make Maree get me drinks on a little tray and wear a sequin G-string. That's not all what happened. And Dave's saying it's not true that I shagged a tranny while I was in Thailand, even though I said that. And just because Rich called me out, well, that's a reason to hate him and a reason we can really collectively begin to oppress him and to persecute him because, you know, of course we told April that and, you know, she says, I've been really mean to them without acknowledging the whole collective issue. And Scott and Carolyn Pabs, well, Scott shouldn't have really sucked Rich's cock under the Westgate that time. I mean, they're not related. It's not like they did anything illegal. But still, it might upset Carolyn if that was the case. But anyway, look, we're signing off. In all, he's emailed NGOs, he's emailed organisations, and he's always annoyed us. You know, if there was a miracle, Rich needs it now. But sadly, we are that miracle, and we're not going to give it to him. So, this is Bruce and Maree McMaster, Doug and April McLean, Brad and Jodie McLean, or Brad and Ciara McLean, and Jodie and Dave Bongetti, even Scott and Carolyn Pabs. And we'll also throw in Ashley McMaster. And me, Bruce, gave him his whole company. You know, that was good. And Ash actually said to Rich, you'd make a great Manic Street preacher, when Rich was going to be homeless. So a big shout out to our nephew and son, Ash, and Hayden, who all the family joke about he likes to breed, and about how his wife would be sitting over in the corner, Hayden would be fucking a beanbag with his cross eyes and trying to find where to put it in, and she'd be calling out, I'm over here, Hayden. So yeah, big shout out to Hayden and his wife as well, and hope Hayden gets another load in soon, so he can happily populate our family and really get another person who can help oppress, silence, not acknowledge the experience of, and deny Richard all justice. And that's our family, and that's about Rich McLean. And we're aware of his website, imustbecrazy.com.au. And you know what? He is. It's not us, it's him. And look, we're aware that his PhD came to the conclusion that madness in individuals is really rare, but in society it's the norm. And we're well aware that, you know, we are a bit, we're not very nice to him, you know. But anyway, look, we're just going to sign off and say we're aware of the website, imustbecrazy.com.au. We're aware Steve's going to kill him, and we're aware of the government conspiracy, which goes right up to the Prime Minister and ASIO and AGIS, who investigate ASIO and the Commonwealth Ombudsman. And we're well aware people like he helped in the past, like Sane Australia, they're not going to help him. No one wants to dirty their hands with the business of Rich McLean. We don't care that he's killed himself, we'll cover it up, and when he dies again, we'll have exonerated himself from all liability, because he was crazy, and he never asked, and he can't prove it. So, you know, we're just waiting for the day now. I mean, it could be possible he'll get justice from beyond the grave once he's published all this, but, I mean, really, who's going to care or investigate? The coroner? Like, the coroner doesn't care either. The coroner doesn't care that he dies. Like, he actually pointed that out. And anyway, here's a big shout out to Victoria Police, who we love, and here's a shout out to the Ombudsman, and here's a shout out to Personalised Support Services, who have put Rich in a home for a month and a half free of charge. That was kind of nice, but it was just denying, deferring the inevitable of making him homeless again, giving a false sense of security, getting him into trouble, and then literally framing him. And we all support that. And when Ibrahim of Personalised Support Services first promised he'd stay there till he found somewhere else, but then of course went back on his promise, we all saluted that. And now that he's homeless in 4 days, it's good that Rich and his mum April rang the NDIS, and they said, oh, you should be talking to your support coordinator and all that kind of stuff. And of course they already know, and they're already in on it. So if Rich reports the human rights abuse to them, they're not going to sign off on it. But if they do, it goes to the NDIS, and the NDIS are just another agency that mean to call Rich harm. And they've literally delayed, denied, deferred, and locked up all his funds, so he can't touch them. So in essence, look, Rich is clusterfucked framed. He's victimised, he's persecuted, his human rights, which have been documented, have been abused and violated. But the Australian government, and really all of us, aren't doing anything. We don't care, he's crazy, and he should die. When he dies, I know he said he's not suicidal, but I mean, we're all aware that a person needs certain things to live, like food and culture and other people and a home and food and stuff like that. But, you know, we're well aware that Rich doesn't have any of those things, and that we're in an audacious amount of privilege when we deny Richard any voice whatsoever. And that delegitimization of his voice is really a thing that drives him crazy. And we know it's a method of torture. We actually watch him suffering. He goes faster and faster. Closer to death he gets ranting out. Anyway, the CAT team will lock him up soon, and we'll have another epoch of suffering when really the mental health system, who was supposed to be caring for him, are actually his abusers. And we love that. We actually love that he's being abused. And so we just thought we'd sign off and say, good luck to him. I mean, will we go to his funeral? I don't think it's necessary. I think they should just get a bag and cut off the body, really, like they did to his best mate, Wes. No one stood up for Wes. It was Rich, actually, who stood up for Wes. Yeah, good on him. He's done some good things in his life, Rich. Anyway, it's been an interesting conversation. Thanks for all the questions. If you want to talk about oppression, victimisation, shattering human rights, or totally neglecting Rich, or absolutely persecuting him, or not giving him access to the family, ostracising him, rejecting him, and not just ignoring him, but pointedly neglecting him, which has become a really, really absurd way. It's so absurd that we're actually detailing his abuse. And, that's what we do. That's what we do as a family. Thanks for speaking. If you want to know about Rich's welfare, just send him to homelessness services or something. Call the police, He is a risk to himself and others because he's mad. So there you have it. That's a wrap. And we look forward to, totally and utterly, brutally victimising to the point of death Rich altogether. We expect to stand with you, with the government and Steve Icenides, who we love, and we're not going to intervene, because to intervene would be ethical and really it'd exercise the rights and privileges that we do have. And in an audacious way, we're up on a pedestal with that, and we're in an absurd amount of, comparative privilege compared to him, and that's really the way we'll kill him in the end. So fuck off, Rich. We hate you, and we fucking hope you die. All right? Okay, well, it's Doug and April McLean, Brad and Ciara McLean, Jodie and Dave Bongetti, Scott and Carolyn Pabs, and Ashley and Hayden and Bruce Maree Hayden McMaster. We hope you enjoyed this little video, and we encourage you to go to imustbecrazy.com.au so you too can ignore it, not acknowledge the actual conspiracy that's happening, and aid and abet Rich's early death, which we can all celebrate. And I hope you have a good afternoon.